Hey everyone, in this episode we'll be taking a look at the movie Dumbo. We're going to talk about our overall thoughts about the movie and why maybe it wasn't a hit. This is episode 132 of the Reel-ists Podcast. Hey everyone, I'm Oscar.
And I'm Donnie.
And we have our producer here, Ruben, as well. Hello. Hello, he says. And thank you for tuning in to the Reel-ists Podcast. Welcome to this episode. We are going to talk about Dumbo. It is going to be a spoiler discussion. And I feel like it's only fair to also mention here in the beginning is that it's also going to be a non-comparison to the original because we did not see the original.
Yep.
So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe this is a fresh, brand new pair of eyes seeing these movies, and right.
I think we'll probably be a little. Well, no, I won't say that. Never mind. Continue.
But yeah, just as a reminder before we get started in our discussion, slash review slash, I guess thoughts. Just realize it's not just really. Kind of is a discussion. But anyways, so we are asking for everyone to please go ahead and review us on iTunes if you use iTunes or Apple Podcast as a platform to listen to us. Just want to get some feedback if possible. Comments on YouTube are also available if you listen to us there. And you can also follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Team Reel-ists. That's Team REELISTS. You can practice writing it down because you might hear it all the time, but then when you come down to put pen and paper, you might be like,
you trying to throw a jab? trying to, you have something to say?
Not at all. I don't know what you're talking about. But, yeah, so just wanted to, it's true though, because sometimes people hear it and they're like, what do I enter? What's it called again?
True. It is true.
So,
I'm a living testament to that.
I'm just saying, if you practice writing it down randomly, you'll get used to it. So that'd be, but anyways, so thank you again for tuning into this episode. If this is your first episode, hopefully we convince you to listen to more. And if you're a returning listener, hopefully we continue to make you want to listen to more episodes. Question mark.
Well said.
I guess. But let's go right into this for the Dumbo review. Donnie, go ahead and take us off with your quick thoughts.
Dumbo. To be honest, I think because I hadn't seen the original animated film, I don't know if that made me less excited, but I wasn't like, oh my God, Dumbo, guys, I have to see this movie. But I was open to it, and I knew about the character, obviously. Like, people know about the character. We've been to Disneyland a million times. Know about the ride. That's
attraction.
Fun. Sorry. My apologies. The attraction. But I think the movie overall, was a, fun, entertaining family film. I think I can definitely see, my nephews or nieces going to see it. The younger crowd I think is gonna love it. I think Adorable is what did I just Adorable?
Adorable.
Sorry, I think Dumbo is such an adorable character. Is what I was trying to say. I think he looked really well. I was really happy with his look and the way he just expressed emotion and visually how they captured him. I thought was nice and well done. And I think, obviously he's the star of the film. The film's named after him, but I think definitely he was the driving force behind the film. And I think the supporting cast was well too. I really liked, Colin Farrell. Mm-hmm. I almost called him Colin Firth. Colin Farrell is the dad. Although I made a joke to you, I'm like, Colin Farrell is forever doing these movies in these back in the day time periods where it's we've seen him kind of, I feel like I was getting Saving Mr. Banks vibes.
And you didn't even think about it. Fantastic Beasts, the first one.
Yeah.
That was a time period too.
Right. So I'm like, get into the 21st century. But yeah, I think the cast overall was really well. The two child actors, I don't know their names, but I felt like they did good. They held their own. The movie didn't wow me. I wasn't leaving the theater going, oh, that was such a good film. You guys have to see it. But I left with enough satisfaction to where I was content with having seen it. And, yeah.
Okay. All right. Acceptable answer. So, Dumbo is, for those that are unaware, that have not heard of that. If you hear Disney, it becomes naturally, together. You eventually will hear about Dumbo if you hear about Disney often. But Dumbo is a young elephant whose oversized ears enable him to fly, which helps saving a struggling circus. But when the circus plans a new venture, Dumbo and his friends discover dark secrets beneath its shiny veneer. Dun, dun, dun. This movie was directed by Tim Burton and stars Colin Farrell, as Donnie pointed out, Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Ava Green, and Alan Arkin. So those are our lead cast. And on very similar thoughts what Donnie had says, I agree that this one was... The standout is Dumbo, which is a great start. However, I feel like the movie was not focused too much on Dumbo, and that's the sad part. Visually, he was awesome. He's adorable. When you see him on screen, you kind of want to hug him. You want to do whatever you do. Like, well, let me rephrase.
Wow. Calm down.
Because I just realized that people murder elephants for their tusk,
ivory.
right? So you want to embrace it as a pet, like as your your pet that you have at home, kind of companion, right? You want to hug it in that way. That's what I meant. But it just, unfortunately, the story tries to become a little bit more about this bigger picture, and it's, I mean, again, I don't know the original, so I don't know if this is the adaptation. From what I've been hearing, that it's only part from the movie, and then everything else was a little bit original, like past what the original movie ended as. So I feel like it's a story that you really couldn't necessarily make it about Dumbo, just because in the cartoon he had talking animals as his friends, and he had, that was his way of being able to communicate his emotion and stuff. And here, with that realistic portrayal, they had kids interact with him instead of the animals. Mm-hmm. So I feel like just with that, it takes away from what Dumbo really can be. And I feel like that hurt the movie more so. And that's why the movie is coming out a little bit more on the okay side for most people, rather than the outstanding, this is something that, we should go see again, or, I need to go on, Dumbo the Flying Elephant attraction at Disneyland right now. Although it's funny that they marketed the sipper and popcorn bucket with the tie-in with the release of the movie, but they still stuck to the original design. They didn't go with the new design, so it's kind of just like Disney knows that the new design is not necessarily winning audiences. In the same way that Beauty and the Beast costume was adapted a little bit more to what the live action had in its costume. So it's kind of interesting to note that it's like they still did the marketing tie-in, they just didn't tie it into the new movie. They were just like, it's its own little thing. But they do have, not to put a little product placement here, but they do have a little exhibit of the new Dumbo. So it's not like they're completely ignoring it, but just wanted. Yeah, where Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, you can see that little exhibit of Dumbo.
I didn't go check it out.
So pretty cool. Like a lot of the props, costumes, a little statue of Dumbo himself. So I don't know how long it's there, but run to Disneyland.
Yeah, I know. Buy your tickets now.
Buy your tickets now. Click the link below.
But no, expires April 23rd.
But yeah, so it's one of those that I loved the character Dumbo, and it's to the point where I fell in love with the character, that when I hear the bad things about the box office numbers and the release of like reviews that are 50% Rotten Tomatoes kind of, I'm just like, oh, poor Dumbo. Like more of the character than anything else. So, like not the movie, not like oh, poor the actors. They did so much hard work. They did, but that's my immediate attention is like the animal itself. I was like, oh, like it's not getting the love that. And look at the and if you immediately think of that and you picture the clown like makeup that they put on, then you're just like, that's sad.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Like for me with this movie, because I know what Dumbo's about, and I know it's about him. He's a flying elephant who can fly, and people are
fly.
Kind of obsessed with that idea and want to see it. So the predictability of the movie itself was like so predictable, and you kind of already knew how it was gonna go, what direction it was gonna go, how it was gonna end.
You knew Michael Keane's character was the villain,
right? Like the greedy, money hungry guy who just wants to, exploit Dumbo and get rich doing it.
Does the initial I want to partner with everyone and make everyone better, and then all of a sudden you start to see that's not the case. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that they did keep the relationship with the mom, a big over arc like from throughout the movie. It wasn't just like, oh, the mom's gone and now we're moving on without the mom.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know. Again, I don't know if the cartoon brings back the mom, but I feel like it doesn't. But who knows?
Brings her back?
Right. Because like the same thing happens. Like they get separated. So.
Oh, the mom elephant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking
Jumbo,
about.
yes.
Yeah, yes.
So, yeah. I like that they still kept, like, that's really what Dumbo wanted. And, like, even the kids kind of, like, I don't know if they were just assuming, but they kind of went with, like, that's all Dumbo wants is just to see his mom again.
Yeah. And we're like, how do you know?
Right. But, I mean, there were some times where you kind of, every time, like, they mentioned it, Dumbo did, like, what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
They're like, come on, you just need to
he
do
was
this,
very
and you can go
he was
home.
very well, like his comprehension of the English language was very very well, because I'm like, damn,
yeah,
he was understanding what they were saying pretty much.
And it's I feel like this movie, the highlights of it is just the character and the achievement of how they were able to bring it to life in a not just realistic but a creative way. Because you would think like an elephant with large ears that can fly, oh, that's only an animation. Now you can see it well done. But they managed to make it believable again. And I think that's the achievement. But unfortunately, because it's not a big accomplishment, both like in terms of like CGI and then visual effects, and also like it's not like it's being redone. It's not like original something, It's not like they're saying like, oh, this is the, a completely new character, never been done before. I think that would have drawn some appeal, but because this was already like done in animation, there was just like, well, why do I want to see it in live action?
Well, you know what, too, the thing is, and I mean, I'm gonna say it because I think people do. It's gonna sound a little mean when I say it, but I think people feel like this. Like we have all these other amazing films that have brilliant CGI where we've seen things like, I mean, just to throw one out there because it's one of my faves, but Avatar, like going to the
it's Disney now, careful.
going to the world of Pandora in and of itself, and seeing the avatars and seeing them ride on the the birds that they ride on. I mean, seeing all this kind of other world being created, that it was like such a spectacle and so just amazing to watch and to witness.
Right.
But if you want to, I mean, or even let me throw a different example, like even watching like even something like Infinity War, where they're going to different planets and you have all these superheroes and you have all these, visual things going on. I feel like as an audience, we're at a point where we're kind of spoiled, like when it comes to the visuals, and we're always like, we want to see more, we want more, popping color, we want more action, we want more detail, so it's like this movie, the most exciting thing you're going to see is an elephant fly. Like that's not the most thrilling thing that somebody wants to see. I think more so people are going to go see this film because it's like, oh, Dumbo, like, I remember that movie growing up. I remember when I was a kid and I saw that movie, and they want to go see the live action version
because
they want to support
handful,
it.
Yeah.
But
the other
I don't think it's like, I mean, and we already know about the character Dumbo, so it's not like this new idea, like, oh, a flying elephant? What? It's not something that's
exactly
going to like grab your attention and
right.
I think
so
that's
because, and that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So because that's not an incredible feat, a feature that it's been accomplished, it needed that story that ties you in, that makes you interested in everything else that's going around this character. If Dumbo's not going to talk, which I don't even think he talks in the anime, does he? Mm-hmm. Oh, he does talk? Oh, that's cool.
I think he does.
But
the
our go-to source says right, yes.
I think that would have even been better had they allowed the live action one to talk. I mean, if you're going to go with the idea that this elephant can fly, then just go all the way with it. And if that's what's in the original, then why not keep that?
Right. Because what they essentially do with this is becomes about the circus, and the circus itself doesn't pull you. The circus itself doesn't necessarily have these things that you're just like, ooh, I do want to see these things. You're kind of just like, oh, what a cliche. You have the strongest man. You have the bearded lady, which I don't know if they had. I'm just saying, like, you have those things that you've heard before. So nothing is like appealing to that in itself. And so when they go through that whole cliche, we're being bought by some other, company that wants to make us go bigger and better and all that stuff, you already know it's going to be like, that's not what they wanted. That's not, it's not home anymore. And they're going to want to go back to what they did. So that's kind of the kind of routine. And so that's where the story falls flat, in that it just doesn't have something exciting to bring. And even if this movie was a page-by-page adaptation of the animation, I think it still would have had that same issue. Because I think the animation, when it came out, it was more the impressive, look at the animation quality we can do, look at how we can make characters, it's storytelling, yeah, and it's at a fresh point. Mm-hmm. Where this one, it's more of just like, I'll just see it at home. Like, I'll just see the animation. And
yeah. And I think that's one of the problems with them trying to do all these live action versions of us, or it's like we're getting so many of them, so now it just feels like, with this one specifically, Dumbo, like it just seems like they're doing it just to do it, right. And I don't really see, like, and I'm biased because I love Aladdin and I love Lion King, but I feel like there's still a draw with those stories. I feel like people are so excited to see Aladdin and Lion King, especially Lion King. Like, there's, so much hype around that one. Aladdin too, but with Dumbo, I didn't really get that. Like, we need to have a live action Dumbo, like, Right. Even if you ask people, like, what's your favorite Disney movie, Dumbo's not going to be, like, at the top of the list.
For a few, of course. Yeah.
I
only say that because I know two people. Right. That was just like, that's.
But it's
top.
Usually like.
But right. It's for majority. It's not even in the top. It's like, if you're telling me I have to pick from all these lists of movies and I see Dumbo on there, I'm going to put them on there because I have to. But it's not because, like, it's a quality. Well, it is a quality movie, but it's not a standout, maybe, I guess would be a better word. It doesn't stay with you in the same way that the other movies that Disney's done. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to kind of see how the other ones go, because essentially based off of the track record with Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Christopher Robin, Mary Poppins Returns, they weren't being seen as not bad movies. They were doing well. With Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella being the best performance, and Maleficent to an extent too. They consider that as a Sleeping Beauty adaptation, but those were doing well in the box office, and so that's why Disney was like, let's keep doing them. Mm-hmm. But with this one now being the first one that's
kind of flopped,
it's going to be now more so what happens to Aladdin and Lion King, because, and I think this is a big factor, because it has a passionate fan base of those two movies. If it does a direct page-by-page adaptation, it could be a possibility people are going to be like, there's nothing worth seeing. It's the same thing, just watching an animation. Like, they might be complaints about that. But if it goes an original route and decides to do something different and adds a twist or adds something we didn't see before, if it doesn't work for the audience, then it's gonna misfire as well.
I feel like it's just gonna be split. Like, you're either gonna love it if it does the same exact thing that the animated version does. People are gonna love it because, yes, that's how it was in the animated one. Do that. Other people are gonna hate that and go, why do I need to see it if I saw the original one?
Exactly.
And then vice versa.
That's what's gonna be interesting, because Dumbo essentially proved that despite being a nostalgic movie, it's not gonna automatically be everyone's like, this was a great movie, I loved it. There's many great aspects about that. We'll talk about that for sure. I think one of that being the actors. I think all the actors did a solid job in this movie. It wasn't like this movie is poorly acted, poorly directed. Tim Burton did a beautiful job of creating Dreamland and creating this, area that you believed. I believed it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And so there's a lot of great things that the movie did. It's just, and I think we both have that same feeling. We're both just like, it was good, but if you're telling me if I have to choose another movie, I don't think that's going to be the immediately go-to movie that I would say, let's watch Dumbo again. Mm-hmm. So that's what.
And like I was saying, like, by no means was it wasn't a bad film. It was fun. It was enjoyable, and
exactly.
I was happy with have watched it. But I mean, down the line, is it going to stick out?
Right? Does it
as one of the greats? Like,
right? Does it
probably
crack the
not.
top 10 and all that stuff? Yeah, it's one of those that it's not a bad movie, but at the same time, it's not a must see. It's kind of just like, I'll leave that up to you. Do you want to see an elephant that can fly in live action or animation? Do you want to see another Disney movie that you trust the brand, you're going to get a quality entertainment movie? Or do you want to go watch something else, something different? It's kind of, yeah, for sure. But yeah, so in speaking of the actors here, did you have a favorite character? You said the children were great.
The children were good. You know what? I really liked Ava Green as Colette. And I think I liked her because at first I thought it was going to be the cliche, like, okay, so she came in with Michael Keaton's character, and you know that he was evil and greedy and money hungry, and she was kind of his, his arm piece, or his, his girl.
Right.
So I thought
first lady in a kind of way.
first lady, so to speak. So I thought that they were going to both be like that.
Right.
But then as we got to know her a little bit more, and we saw that he like went and like got her from France, and
it was a little bit of like tokenism kind of thing where it's just like prized possession.
Yeah, exactly. So, in that she didn't, she doesn't care about him, but she's kind of in a position, she's kind of in a position where she has to basically just go with what he says, and, but, kind of longs for something more. So I really liked her, and, and her and Colin Farrell started kind of developing a little relationship, and you can see that she did really want what was best for this family and for Dumbo. So I really did like her, and by the way, she was in Miss Peregrine's Children for whatever, the Peculiar Children movie. Loved her in that too. Just a little side note, but yeah, I like her, and I liked her character.
I liked her character as well. I think what won me more so, I think Colin Farrell's character, it surprised me, I think, more so because I thought his character was going to be a little bit on the, I'm not in favor of Dumbo. I'm doing what's best for like the business kind of thing. But he quickly warmed up to being on Dumbo's side, and he quickly like was supporting his kids. Mm-hmm. He had a difficult time being, that father figure, but yet he was still saying, no, my kids know this animal best. Let's go with what they're saying, kind of thing. And was quick to like jump on, like, let's save Dumbo. It wasn't like he had to get convinced by the kids. He was like there immediately from the beginning, despite, having that rough start of, he's coming back from the war and lost an arm, his wife has passed away already. So it's like, you could easily see where this character could have been more of like a distraction for the kids, or a problem for the kids to go through, but he actually was really good in just being a good father at that time, even despite him considering himself as a bad parent, because he just hasn't been there for them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So and even the circus crew members, I thought they were at least they weren't standouts, but they were at least passable. Mm-hmm. Passable in the sense that they brought their entertainment for that time on the screen. So like the few seconds that they were on the screen, they did their part in continuing the story while keeping it like enjoyable. So it was just like it's like a passing grade. It's like you didn't, it wasn't bad. It was just your pass.
Yeah.
You didn't fail. You passed. Pass, no pass.
Well, even Danny DeVito's character, he was the one who was in charge of the smaller circus, like this, in the beginning, and he definitely was persuaded a little bit by Michael Keaton's character at first, and you could tell he was like, oh, this is great, like kind of business venture, us joining forces, and we can all get rich and make money. But then, throughout the film, he did see that the way Michael Keaton was going about it was wrong. And I feel like he was even a little kind of conflicted internally, like, oh, I'm a businessman and I have a circus to run, but
yeah,
this guy's like crazy, and I don't want to go about it this way. And I'm glad that they tried to show that side of him too, that it wasn't just, I'm a businessman, like, I don't care, let's get rid of the stupid elephant or whatever. Like,
that's how it kind of was at first.
Yeah. But then he started to develop some, good conscience throughout the film. So I was happy about that. He had some redeeming qualities about him.
Yeah, that's true, and I agree. A lot of this movie had great things about it, and I think that's the thing that's kind of tough when you're just trying to say, one, should you go see this movie, and two, how do you review this movie? Because as a movie itself, it's good. It's really good. It's something that you'll watch and you'll be okay with, satisfied. I would say for most people. Obviously there's going to be people that was just like, no, that didn't work for me. Get it out of my face. But if you don't find Dumbo adorable, I'm just saying there's a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. If there's one thing that this movie can take away, is just that they did an excellent job at Dumbo. Because all the times that he was on the screen, like when he was a little firefighter and he was going up the ladder, I mean, maybe that's just like the I guess maybe in my eyes, it's like the same way that we dress up our dogs kind of thing. And it's just like, maybe that's the thing when they put the clown makeup on. And maybe I'm kind of comparing it to that. So that's where maybe some adorable factors are coming in. But I just thought, I thought it worked. Every time Dumbo was on screen, I was okay with. When it kind of shifted to the story, I was like, it's not working. Let's get some Dumbo in here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not the worst Tim Burton movie, but it's not the best Tim Burton movie at the same time. It's kind of like right in the middle. It's like maybe to some, obviously, it's gonna go one way or the other, but for most, it's yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Any particular scene that you enjoyed the most out of the movie?
Can I think about it?
Sure. We'll wait. Everyone
Can you
here,
go first?
Everyone listening on the podcast will wait for Donnie's thoughts, and I'll throw out some trivia.
You go
fun
first.
facts.
You go first, and then I'll give you mine.
I was liking my idea. I'm gonna throw trivia fun facts in between. Did you know? But yeah. So I think to me, the scene that stands out the most was the first time that they tried to do the flying with Colette on the back, because at that moment I feared for Dumbo. A little bit for Colette, but I feared for Dumbo just because I was like...
I feared for Colette way more because I'm like, Dumbo can at least has a chance, but like her, she just falls. She's done.
The movie is gonna play it safe. Obviously, it's not gonna show Colette falling down and like snapping her neck on the ground. Like, it wouldn't go that far, nor would it show Dumbo dying. But it was just one of those moments where you're just like, this innocent animal is doing something that it's not comfortable doing, probably naturally. It's not something it goes to do, and it's very high and so many eyes on it, so it must have some kind of like anxiety in its own way. And then it just starts to like the act starts to fail, and then he like slips back and he's trying to just get back on the platform before falling to his death. So that just those things like that is where it was just like it got me. I was just like, ooh, like I know he's not gonna die, but it's still it's I don't want to see anything bad.
Well, any time that Dumbo took flight, I would get nervous just because I have a fear of heights. But like anytime I watch a movie where like there's heights involved, I get it because it's so big and kind of grand scale, so it always gets me on edge. So watching like those scenes, especially that one, I was like, anxiety was kind of
even like when they were doing the firefighter act and he got stuck up there. Like, I knew he wasn't gonna die, one, because it was like early in the movie, but two, it was just like he looked so innocent and it's like scared, and it's just like, someone do something for the elephant. And also he just like, they took his mom away. I was like, come on,
I know, it's
young, like it just wanted its mom. Like, it was sad when it was trying to communicate with its mom through the cage. And like, he was outside and he was trying to put his, nose, trunk with it. I guess trunk.
His trunk, yeah.
through the bars, the air that the mom can see. And they did bond for a little moment there, but those I think was just like, oh,
yeah.
He just wanted his mom. He just wanted.
That's what we all want in the world.
And I think that Dumbo was actually affected by his name being called Dumbo in the animated movie, from what I heard. Like, that actually played an impact in like that kind of like emotions that he was going through.
Well, that would make sense because it's a very mean name,
right? It was, and the way they named it was differently. I think in the animated, it was based off of like the people calling it, because they're just like, it's a dumb animal because it has large ears. And I think this one they try to be like, oh, look at this new animal, and then like the sign that it had messed up, and so it revealed, instead of Jumbo Jr.
That part I did like. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was creative.
Yeah.
It was creative on how Tim Burton managed to take some of the things that were in the animated movie and just were able to at least flip it in its own way of saying it's still going to happen, just differently. Like the name, and there was another part that was, the pink elephants with Dumbo in the animation movie. It's one of the popular topics that about that movie is that he gets drunk, and so from there he's seeing those pink elephants and the bubbles and like dancing and stuff. But here it was one of the acts that were taking place, and he just happened to come across it, and he was amazed, he was just like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah, because they're like, we're not going to put any drinking reference into this movie.
Right.
I really liked the scene where when the dad and the kids were, I mean, it's kind of like a hero scene, I guess, but like when the dad and the kids were stuck in the tent and it was on fire.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't know how they were going to get out. And then Dumbo was like, they make it, because Dumbo and Colette reach the bay where they're supposed to escape, but then Colette's like, it's okay, go, the mom's there too, so like they're all ready to go, and then the mom kind of gives the nod to Dumbo, like, go rescue him, and then Dumbo's off and goes and gets him. I thought that was like, oh yes, like, Dumbo, you are the goat. So that was really cool and really endearing. Almost shed a little tear.
Yeah, like that was another one. All the moments that Dumbo was in, you're either like, oh, he's so adorable, or just like, don't die, Dumbo. Stay alive.
I also really liked the scene when they were when Colette and Dumbo were training in that practice tent, when she was trying to kind of catch his rhythm when he was flying to know when she could kind of jump on him and they could fly together. I thought that was pretty cool. Just the way it was like, the way she was watching him fly, and she was trying to time, when she would jump on, and just the whole like logistical aspect of that. And I thought that was cool little like training session.
I like the little ending when they were both on the net and they were both just like shoulder to shoulder essentially. Thought that was cool too. All right, so with all that being said, I hope you're ready for your score.
I am.
You ready? Okay, perfect. What is your real score?
I'm gonna give this one a 2.5 out of 5.
Wow.
So it's not. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like I said before, it was a good film. I think the kiddies will love it. I think the younger audience will like it, but it just didn't do a ton for me. And I probably won't remember this movie on like my, when I reflect back on 2019 and I'm compiling my top 10 list. It's not going to be a part of it.
Dang, I'm already declaring.
Yeah, it probably won't. But I think it was a good film. A little, I don't want to say mediocre, but I already said it, so mediocre.
Not to call it mediocre, but
it was predictable. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those, like, I can take it or leave it. I think it had some good moments, some endearing moments. The characters, obviously Dumbo was great, and the characters were really, I think, developed well. But aside from that, the story itself, the premise, the wow factor to Dumbo flying, it kind of fell a little flat for me. So for that reason, 2.5.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'm going to be just a little bit nicer, and I'm going to give it a 3. Just because I think the character Dumbo was just the best part of it. And I feel like that is what is going to satisfy a lot of people, is that they did Dumbo right for the character. Not, the movie itself and all that, the story details focusing on the circus and this whole kind of theme about animal rights and, protecting the animals. Even with the ending with the mom and Dumbo in the like, I don't know where the location's at, but with the other elephants. Even that was just kind of like a little bit on the, like too perfect. And you're just like, well, how do they really get there? Because that, it must have been a long journey, first of all. And then the popularity of Dumbo itself from the circus and all the media it got, I feel like people would have been trying to get
and
that.
Too, I've heard stories of like circus animals or any animal that's been held in captivity, when they're released into the wild, they generally don't survive very long. Because they don't know how to survive in the wild. B, most of the other animals notice that there's something different about them and they usually attack them. Exactly. So I was like,
Dumbo,
that's immediately what I thought when they were going back to the motherland or wherever they were going. I was like, they're gonna die.
So and I mean, Dumbo would be fine. He'll fly away.
He'll fly back to the
like, bye, Mom.
circus, like, right.
So I would say that's the biggest positive that the movie has, and that I take away from, is that they got the character right visually, and they got the character right emotionally. You definitely connect with the character at the very least, I would say. And I think everything else was just good, as we said. It wasn't bad by no means. Yes, the predictability and the pacing of the story, it's nothing that draws you in. But I think if you go see it you probably want to see Dumbo at the very least. Like, that's the main attraction you're going to go see. So I would hope that you're satisfied with that. But yeah, unfortunately, the other parts did not lift this movie higher than what it could have been, especially for fans of the movie. I'm assuming that it'd be interesting to see what the original Dumbo viewers think of the adaptation, because it's kind of like, I know a lot of people love Dumbo for who Dumbo is, like the character, but does that mean they're gonna love this movie? It's interesting to kind of see how that approaches, but for myself, it's a 3 out of 5.
All right.
So with that being said, listeners, if you have seen this movie, or if you've seen the original and you want Donnie and me to watch it, let us know. You can let us know, as I said, on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Team Reel-ists. We hope you enjoyed this episode, but until next time, everyone, goodbye.